Hey YouTube, it's Zach. I saw an article the other day that said Toronto is the biggest real estate bubble on the planet. I panicked, so I was gonna sell everything. I contacted clients, family, friends, told them stop what you're doing, sell everything you have. Toronto bubble big, Toronto bubble boom, get out of it. Then I remembered seeing another article that said Blackstone was going to come to Toronto and expand their operations into Canada. So I picked up the phone and I was about to contact clients, family, friends and say stop everything you're doing and buy as much real estate as you can. Prices are gonna go up. If you watch the news, I won't blame you if you're as confused as anybody else on what's happening in the real estate market. So in this video, we're gonna look at some data points to determine when is the bottom of the market, is there a bubble, and when is it gonna burst, so that we can figure out exactly when is a good time for you as an investor or a first-time home buyer to enter the market. If you watched my last video, we've already established that sales are going to be down, most likely in October, because we're comparing sales to last year. And we made a prediction that sales in October are going to be down by 51%. Guess what? The numbers are out by Treb and we're so close. Sales are down 49.1%. compared to last year October. You guys loved that video and subscribed like crazy, so I'll put that video at the end of this one so you can watch it. Now if you haven't subscribed, go ahead, subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. There's a big chance YouTube is not going to show you my face again otherwise. Also, while you're down there, just click the like. It will really help the channel out. Going back to the numbers, one piece of information in that report is that sales compared to September of this month, it did not decline. It's very similar. It's roughly the same number pretty much. The price is not declining month over month as much as it was at the beginning of the year when the rates started to increase and Bank of Canada announced that they're going to be fighting inflation by increasing interest rates. So in a market like this, waiting is not necessarily going to be beneficial to you. So if you're in the process of entering the market, you want to do that before any more interest rate increases are announced. With every interest rate increase, your purchasing power might drop, which means you're going to be able to get something slightly smaller without the prices declining as much. Talking about rate hikes, last Wednesday, Bank of Canada's announcement was a little underwhelming. We were anticipating a 75 basis point increase, however it was only 50 basis points. We saw the sentiment before the announcement already changed. There were landlords, over-leveraged investors, including politicians, complaining about the rate hikes and saying Bank of Canada is wrong, they should stop doing it. Jagmeet Singh, for example, recommended Bank of Canada to stop increasing the rates. His solution to help fight inflation is to print more money and give it to everybody. This is not a political channel. I don't really read the news on that kind of theater, but Tiff McClem was so upset that he went on the news and said, "We are independent as Bank of Canada. I make the interest rate decisions, so leave me alone." I want to take a moment and apologize to Tiff on behalf of all the politicians. Bank of Canada is independent, and one big news that helps kind of determine if rates are going to stop increasing or going to continue to increase is that banks are now offering fixed rate mortgages lower than variable mortgages. You might ask, why is that? Unless the bank is a charitable bank, I don't know if anything like that exists, it's because they want to make more money. So they are anticipating that over the next 5 years, rates are going to maybe even potentially drop. So they want to make sure you get locked into a fantastic rate right now for the next 5 years. Talking about mortgage rates, to make sure this bubble is actually going to burst and how quickly, I wanted to see what our mortgage delinquency rate is, to see how many of us not paying their mortgage and going to default and walk away from their homes. Data shows that in Q2 of this year, Ontario numbers for delinquency was 0.07, which is almost negligible, let's call it. And BMO in their quarterly earnings report said, "We have a high credit quality borrowers base with an average credit bureau score of 793 and an average loan to value ratio of 48%. Basically what that means is we own more equity in our homes, so we would most likely not walk away from it. They're saying only 2% of their Canadian portfolio have credit scores of 680 and below, and their loan to value ratio is above 70%. So looking at this data, I promised to tell you guys exactly when the bubble is gonna burst and when is it the right time for you guys to jump into the market. Now, unfortunately, all of this mortgage numbers, blah blah, inflation, none of it really matters unless you're buying your home cash.
It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
Well, Fugazi, it's fake.
Yeah, fugazi, fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a
And as most of us are getting mortgages, the most important graph that you want to look at is your income graph. So let's say you got your first job, now you're getting paid around 32, 35,000, whatever the minimum wage is. And as time passes, maybe a couple of years down the road, you got a nice increase in your salary. Now you're making $68,000. Next, you meet your partner, you fall in love, combined income is going to increase. If they make also 60,000, now your household income is 120,000. A few years down the road, both of you get a promotion, and now both of you are managers making 85,000 each with a bonus of $5,000. So that's 90,000 each, making a roughly household income of 180,000. Fantastic. Let's stop here for the sake of first-time home buyers. In this scenario, graphing the income on top of the sales numbers, for example, of the real estate market, it might look something kind of like this if you average over time. Every single time you get a bonus, an increase in your salary, that is the point where you will be getting ahead of the market slightly, and then over time the market will catch up until your next jump. So what I recommend you do is every time you get a little bit of a jump in your salary, contact your real estate agent. You can contact me too. Figure out where the market is, how it is looking, and if you're thinking to enter the market, that's the best time to get your pre-approvals, check what your budget might look like, and see what you can afford to purchase. And the reason why I say mortgage numbers, inflation, this and that, rate hikes, none of it really matters is because when you buy a property to live in it, or you might buy it to rent it out, which means a tenant is going to be living in it, you're not buying stocks, and you're not going to be selling that property as frequently as you think you will. The faster you buy and sell real estate, the richer me, your real estate agent, the lawyer, the city and the province is going to get rich, and the CRA might get rich, and the only person who does not get rich is you. So if you're thinking to buy, you want to buy, you have a good job, that is the best time for you to buy. So if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them, because there's so many people out there sitting on the bench waiting for the game to be almost over so that they can jump in and take that winning shot. It doesn't work that way, and it doesn't make you a great player. This is the video that I mentioned where I discuss the sales numbers. I show a graph of the market slowing down. So if you want to watch that, click here. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.